The subtle art of not giving AF***CK begins with a simple but powerful idea. Life is difficult, and trying to make it perfect only makes it worse. In modern society, people are constantly told to be positive, to chase happiness, to believe they can achieve anything, and to avoid negativity at all costs. Social media, motivational speakers, and self-help culture often promote the idea that success comes from always thinking positively and eliminating negative emotions. However, Mark Manson argues that this constant obsession with positivity actually creates more anxiety, more dissatisfaction, and more pressure. When people believe they should always be happy, they begin to see every negative feeling as a failure. If they feel sad, insecure, or frustrated, they assume something is wrong with them. This creates a cycle where people feel bad about feeling bad, and the emotional pressure continues to grow. The author introduces the central philosophy of the book. The key to a meaningful life is not caring about more things, but caring about fewer things that truly matter. Human beings have limited emotional energy, limited time, and limited attention. When we try to care about everything, every opinion, every criticism, every problem, every social comparison, we exhaust ourselves. The real skill in life is learning where to invest our emotional energy and where to stop caring. This is what Manson calls the subtle art of not giving AF***CK. It does not mean becoming indifferent or lazy. Instead, it means becoming selective about what deserves your attention. Many people spend their lives chasing external validation. They want to be admired, respected, and recognized by others. They measure their worth through social approval, money, popularity, or status. These values are unstable because they depend on factors outside of our control. When your happiness depends on the opinions of others, you constantly feel insecure. One moment you feel confident, and the next moment a small criticism can destroy your self-esteem. Manson argues that real stability comes from choosing values that are internal rather than external. Values such as honesty, curiosity, effort, responsibility, and growth are healthier because they depend on actions within our control. Another major idea in the book is that life is essentially a series of problems. Many people believe that happiness will arrive once their problems disappear. They think that if they earn enough money, find the perfect partner, or achieve the right career, their struggles will finally end. But the reality is that solving one problem simply creates new problems. A successful entrepreneur must deal with stress, competition, and responsibility. A loving relationship requires emotional effort, communication, and compromise. Even a healthy lifestyle requires discipline and sacrifice. Therefore, happiness is not about eliminating problems, but about choosing problems that feel meaningful. If you enjoy the struggle associated with your goals, the struggle becomes a source of fulfillment instead of frustration. Manson explains that suffering is unavoidable. Every path in life contains pain. The difference between fulfilled people and miserable people is not the absence of suffering, but the quality of their struggles. When someone deeply cares about something meaningful, they are willing to endure the challenges that come with it. For example, an artist may struggle with rejection and financial instability, but the creative process itself gives their life meaning. A parent may sacrifice sleep, time, and personal comfort, but raising a child becomes a meaningful challenge rather than an unwanted burden. The book also introduces a concept of the feedback loop from hell. This occurs when negative emotions create additional layers of negative emotions. For instance, someone may feel anxious about their career. Instead of simply acknowledging the anxiety, they begin criticizing themselves for being anxious. They think they should be stronger or more confident. Now they feel anxious about their anxiety, which intensifies the emotional pressure. The same pattern occurs with sadness, anger, or insecurity. The more we judge our emotions, the more powerful those emotions become. The solution is acceptance. Instead of fighting our feelings, we acknowledge them as natural parts of the human experience. Another important theme in the book is responsibility. Manson argues that while many events in life are not our fault, they are still our responsibility. This distinction is important because blaming external circumstances prevents growth. For example, a person may experience betrayal in a relationship. The betrayal itself may not be their fault, but how they respond to it is their responsibility. They can choose to learn from the experience, build stronger boundaries, and grow emotionally, or they can remain stuck in resentment and victimhood. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming ourselves for everything. It means recognizing that our choices determine our future. Manson also criticizes a culture of entitlement that exists in modern society. Many people grow up believing they are special and deserve extraordinary success. Social media reinforces this belief by constantly displaying images of wealth, beauty, and achievement. As a result, people begin to expect a perfect life. When reality fails to match these expectations, they feel frustrated and inadequate. The truth, however, is that most people are ordinary, and that is perfectly normal. Accepting our limitations allows us to focus on realistic goals and genuine improvement instead of chasing unrealistic fantasies. Another key lesson from the book is the importance of uncertainty. Humans naturally want certainty. We want to believe our opinions are correct and our identity is stable. However, personal growth requires questioning our assumptions. If we are always convinced that we are right, we stop learning. Manson suggests that we should approach life with curiosity instead of rigid certainty. When we allow ourselves to be wrong, we open the door to growth and deeper understanding. Failure plays a central role in this process. Society often treats failure as something to avoid at all costs. But failure is actually one of the most valuable sources of information. Every mistake teaches us something about what does not work. Successful people are not those who avoid failure, but those who learn from it quickly. Each failure becomes a step toward improvement. The book also explores the dynamics of relationships and emotional boundaries. Healthy relationships require both people to take responsibility for their own emotions and actions. When individuals constantly sacrifice their needs to satisfy others, resentment builds. At the same time, blaming others for every emotional difficulty prevents personal growth. Strong relationships are built on honesty, mutual respect, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Toward the later part of the book, Manson discusses the importance of recognizing our own mortality. Most people avoid thinking about death because it feels frightening. However, awareness of death can actually provide clarity. When we understand that our time on earth is limited, we begin to see which concerns truly matter and which ones are trivial. Arguments, social comparisons, and the pursuit of superficial validation lose their importance. Instead, we focus on meaningful experiences, genuine relationships, and personal growth. The awareness of mortality encourages humility. No matter how successful we become, our existence is temporary. This realization removes the pressure to prove our superiority or achieve unrealistic perfection. Instead, we can focus on living authentically and contributing to something larger than ourselves. Throughout the book, Manson emphasizes that a meaningful life is not built by avoiding negative emotions. Pain, uncertainty, and struggle are essential parts of growth. When we try to eliminate these experiences, we weaken ourselves. But when we accept them and choose struggles that align with our values, we become stronger and more resilient. The subtle art described in the title is essentially the ability to stop wasting emotional energy on things that do not matter. It means ignoring trivial distractions, rejecting unrealistic expectations, and focusing on values that bring genuine meaning. It requires courage to let go of social approval and embrace personal responsibility. But this shift creates a life that is more authentic, more focused, and more fulfilling. In the end, the message of the subtle art of not giving AF*CK is both simple and profound. Life will always involve struggle. Happiness does not come from eliminating problems, but from choosing problems that feel worth solving. When we stop trying to be perfect, stop seeking constant validation, and stop caring about everything, we gain the freedom to care deeply about the few things that truly matter. And in that focused attention lies the possibility of a meaningful and satisfying life.